Hello and welcome to the Authentic Freedom Virtual Church. My name is Lori Lumbie and I'm the pastor and spiritual director of this online community. Let me read to you from our mission statement. We are a community of men and women who believe Jesus to be our teacher, while honoring the spiritual truths inherent within all sacred traditions. We recognize the divine as that which is at once outside of us, within us, and present within all of creation, and which can be acknowledged by any name, image, or presence. We believe in the inherent potential of all human beings to become self-actualized, and acknowledge the spiritual journey as a formative tool in this endeavor. We believe in the law of love, and seek to know more fully the love of the divine that dwells within us, and which seeks to be known in the world through us, in service to the betterment of our world. Let us pause for a moment in silence as we prepare our hearts and our minds to receive God's nourishment for us today. Huela tachlan lenesuna ela patsa min bisha. Huela tachlan lenesuna ela patsa min bisha. Huela tachlan lenesuna ela patsa min bisha. In those words from the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, we remember and hang on to our intention for equanimity. To allow ourselves to be detached, protected from, resilient against those illusionary and surface things which might otherwise tempt to take us from our inherent and natural state of loving peacefulness. Equanimity is the theme of this Sunday's reading from Paul's letter to the Philippians. Specifically, Paul observes to the Philippians the equanimity that he has realized in his own life. Equanimity is the ability to maintain a sense of peaceful calm, a sense of contentment, a sense of acceptance and surrender in the ebb and flow, the ups and downs, and the constant changing of the human condition. If we could say that there is a goal to our spiritual practice, we might say that equanimity is that goal. Equanimity is a skill that we learn by tending to our spiritual practice. The more we give time and attention to our intimate connection with the divine, the more we find peace. More importantly, the more we find peace even in the difficulties and challenges that are part of the human condition. As Paul observed, he was able to maintain a state of peaceful calm, acceptance, and contentment in the midst of his life, whether he was experiencing times of material abundance or times of material lack. Paul found within his spiritual practice the ability to remain contented, whole, and peaceful, regardless of what life handed him. Reading between the lines of Paul's reading, we get a glimpse into the truth of the human condition. In the human condition, there are no guarantees. Life is constantly moving and constantly changing. We may have the opportunity in this life or in times of our lives to experience abundance, prosperity, material wealth, and comfort. As is the nature of the constant changing human condition, those times of wealth and prosperity and abundance can just as quickly turn to times of lack. What Paul reminds us is that there is a way to achieve and experience peace and contentment regardless of what life gives us. There is also a message of hope in Paul's reading. Hope, especially for those in our current culture who are struggling materially, financially, trying to make ends meet, trying to survive in a culture that doesn't value a lot of the contributions that we offer to the human experience, where greed and gluttony has gotten in the way of justice, where people are not paid a just wage for the work that they are doing that contributes to the good of our society. As I sit with that, what comes to my mind especially is the plight of educators. Teachers are there as formative tools in our children's lives, as formative tools in our own lives if we are continuing to pursue education as adults. And the fact remains that teachers are not paid for what they do. They are not given a just wage for the amount of hours, the blood, sweat, and tears and heart that goes into their job. This is an injustice in our society. And it is not only teachers that suffer from the current state of our economic culture. The hope that is implied in Paul's message is that this too shall change. This too shall change. That just because we might be experiencing periods of lack in our own lives doesn't mean that that will persist. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever. If there is one thing that is guaranteed in the human condition, it is change. And we can know that as the wheel of time moves on, that the current situation that we find ourselves in may not necessarily remain. So there's hope in Paul's message, but more importantly is the invitation to cultivate equanimity. How can we tend diligently to our spiritual practice so that we can establish a foundation of peaceful contentment that will allow us to move through whatever life hands us, that we will have tools to go to when we find ourselves anxious, worried, or under extreme stress, and that we will also have tools so that we can manage the times of prosperity and wealth without engaging in compulsions of gluttony or greed. So the invitation this week is to be more diligent about our spiritual practice, to make a commitment to ourselves to taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour if you can, to simply be with God. To utilize whatever tools you have that help to facilitate peace and calm within yourself. To give diligent attention to your spiritual practice so that you can build that foundation of peaceful contentment that will allow you to manage and handle whatever life gives you. Again, the invitation this week is to cultivate equanimity. Thank you for your time and your attention to this virtual church service. If you found this service to be helpful or supportive of your own journey, I invite you to share that through your email or your social networking sites. And I also invite you to support Authentic Freedom Ministries in whatever way that you feel called, financially or through your prayers, in whatever way that you want to give back for the gift that has been given to you. Thank you, and have a great week.